And the recording is on.
So I can start that, Deborah.
Not quite yet. Hold on. Just still letting people in. Sorry about that. All right, as an introduction, we like to acknowledge that our mission at Vose Library is to advance learning, inspire curiosity, enrich lives, and promote community. And with that in mind, let me introduce our guests, Tim and Laurie Warden. They lived and worked on Mount Desert Island for 36 years. When they retired in 2018, they moved to Appleton because Tim loves to fish and wanted to be able to fish year-round. Laurie is an avid hiker and finds plenty of opportunities in the Mid-Coast area. They also love to travel. Through the years, they've traveled extensively throughout Europe and Eastern Canada. Before they married, Laurie went to New Zealand in 1995 and always wanted to return with Tim. The chance came when they retired and had plenty of time to make such a long trip. And just one little side note, Laurie is also a fabulous board member for Vose Library. I just wanted to make sure I put that in there for us. And so without further ado, please help me welcome Tim and Laurie. Hi, Tim and Laurie.
Hi,
folks.
Deborah. Thank
Hi,
you.
Deborah.
Thank you for that.
Sure
Hello.
thing.
Wait a minute. We have some housekeeping to do. We have to do our thing, right?
Sure, yes. You can switch and go on your screen if you'd like now.
Okay. Okay, how's that look?
It looks beautiful. We can see it. Thank
Good.
you.
Great. Well, hello, everyone out there. Thank you so much for coming to join us. This is our first Zoom presentation. So we're
And it'll probably show.
Let's hope this goes well. So as you all know, New Zealand is a spectacular country, and in the next few minutes, you'll get a chance to see some of the photos from the places that we travel to. Tim and I don't tend to go into cities too much, so you won't see a lot of cities. You'll find out that we obviously like trees and hiking and things like that.
And
So,
landscapes, which are probably way too many.
yeah.
It's good though.
So, and you know, going to New Zealand, it's such a long trip. I would never travel. I would never do it unless I could stay for a long time. The first time I went, everyone I met from the States would say, "Oh, we're here for 2 weeks," and I'm like, "How do you see this place in 2 weeks?" So, if you're gonna go, try to go as long as possible.
And take an airplane, it's faster than swimming.
So, took us 36 hours of flying to get there from Boston to LA we'd go to Sydney, then back to Auckland. Long trip.
And this was all our luggage.
So this is the setup. It's New Zealand has 3 main islands: the North Island, the South Island, and then Stewart Island is a little bump off the bottom there. There's 65% of the people live on the North Island, 19 on the South Island, and Stewart Island has 375. This red line shows our route going south, and then the blue is on the return. Spent our first day, that's Auckland. It's nicknamed the City of Sails because there's sailing boats of all sorts there.
And the World Cup is there. Or not the World Cup,
Whatever it's called.
whatever. The
Big competition,
yeah.
sailing competition.
I'm blanking
So
there.
very modern city. You know, everything's clean, everything's nice. Lots of shopping opportunities. A very international city. And the town city parks have beautiful trees. Is this one? And that one. So we have a friend who lives 2 hours north of Auckland. He lives on that sailboat there with the red arrow in a town called Whangarei.
We hadn't seen him in 10 years.
So we went up to visit him for a couple of days, had a very nice time, and then we started heading south. So this is heading back down toward Auckland. Lovely scenery starting, and then get to some of the roads less traveled. We went out to the ocean. That's the Tasman Sea on the west coast of New Zealand. As you can see, it's a lovely beach.
Whoops.
Very varied landscape, always something to look at.
Always. Your neck will be sore.
Agapanthus growing wild along the side of the road. Morning glories just wild along the beach. Lots of sheep.
And it's windy there. Ask this tree.
This is Raglan Beach. It's a major surfing hub. We went there to go look at the surf, and it's a pretty nice place.
Black sand.
And this is the first of the volcanoes that we saw. Actually, Auckland was formed from volcano way long time ago, but this is Mount Taranaki. The volcanic eruptions were caused by, so it has caused black sand beaches in that area. The last time it erupted was 350 years ago, and they think it's about due. So hang on. There's our camper van. That's what we lived in for almost 2 months. Having been there before, I knew we wanted the smallest camper van possible, so we did pretty much get that. Now, these are British, it was originally British country, so you just drive on the left. This is the camper van and a campsite. They provide everything you need in that camper van for 2 people, and
Silverware, everything.
everything.
Bedding, linens.
Yeah, 2 towels, 2 pillows. This is Tim in the kitchen one morning making some coffee. You can see the propane stove. Underneath that is where our dishes and silverware are stored. The silver is the little refrigerator. You don't put many groceries in there, but it's something, and it charges while you drive. So, and then once you park at night, it slowly obviously gets warmer and warmer, and it's okay by the next morning when you start driving again, it can start to get cold again. Water supply is there on the right, and then that's a little portable sink to do minimal dishes, and I do mean minimal. That's Crocosmia. Beautiful plant.
Grows right where you're parked.
That's called Himalayan honeysuckle. That's an invasive. That's probably not native. I don't even know what that is.
This is.
Yeah. Just driving along the countryside. These are the types of things you see.
These were squirrely roads. And you see some cool things.
So as you can see, the roads are in really great shape. This is a back road. There's very few roads that are more than, like 2 lanes. Like the majority, like 99% of the roads are 2 lanes. The only time you're going to see more than 2 would be probably around Auckland. And that's about it. And yeah, so you've got to squeeze in.
Can you hear that?
That's a tui.
No, it's up this
Going
way.
the other way.
Oh, wow.
Darn. That's a tui bird. They have 2 voice boxes, so they have a really unusual, really unusual sounds that they can make, very varied. So back out to the ocean. We're just above Wellington here. That's Kapiti Island. That's a bird sanctuary. You can take a boat out to see it. You can take a boat out to see it. When we were in Wellington, we went to the Botanic Garden. It was beautiful. Beautiful displays and lots of great vegetation. And a very nice day there too. You can tell by the weather. Some of the flowers there. Unusual tree. And they recently opened up a place called Zealandia, which is right next to the Botanic Gardens, so it was easy to get to. And it's they have like 40 rare species that are living there. It's a wildlife reserve. It's an eco sanctuary. They completely fenced in 500 acres, so quite a feat, but trying to protect, the animals. And they're very careful when anyone goes in to this area and when they come back out that nothing's going to sneak in, because they can't have any mice or rats or, possums going in there, because that's terrible. We saw a quail, nice sighting of quail. They were sweet, and other birds too.
One of the few times we're in a city, this is This is Wellington.
It's the capital of New Zealand. It's on the bottom of the North Island. And again, it's very clean. And you know, this is probably 9 o'clock in the morning. It's not that busy. This is down on the waterfront, which is more of a touristy area. So 9 o'clock is pretty, you know, didn't expect to see too many people. Interesting sculptures there.
Large urchins.
Urchins. I don't know why they were there. So, again, everything's clean, everything's pleasant. Where you are? What the heck are these?
And yeah, we said, and it turns out they're restrooms. So what? I don't know who was behind that one.
So this is the airport near the bottom of the island.
Big surf.
Back out into the, we couldn't get the ferry to the South Island right away, so we had to kill a couple days. So we left the city and went back out into the countryside, and then we went over to a place, Cape Palliser, and that's our first view of it. It was a beautiful shoreline. We stayed there for the night and just relaxed. The surf was incredible. I don't think you'd want to surf it, particularly because of the rocks, but anyway.
And these are really unusual evergreens.
I can't remember.
Kind of like
they
a
are.
Norfolk Island pine, but
Yeah.
different. And these, if I zoom in, you'll see these are all seals or sea lions. I'm not sure what. I think they're seals.
I think they're seals.
This is the coast. They hang up. They hang out right on the rocks along the shore.
And then we went up to Martinborough, just north of Cape Palliser, in wine country, obviously.
And they're trying to keep the birds off the grapes. This is a typical cafe. It was really fun. Stop in and get a pastry or something. It was nice. Everything's nice. This was the view out there in the common. This was a real wine town. There was like a lot of vineyards.
Yeah, I think they said there's 30 vineyards in that area. They suggest that people rent a bicycle and then go around and do wine tastings. I think that's kind of dangerous.
I would say.
Okay, there's our ferry heading off to the South Island now, which is the more out there area. So here's the South Island.
Once again, the red is going in and the blue is coming back out.
You'll see the Southern Alps runs through straight through the middle of it.
Yeah. This was the sound as we entered the South Island. Lovely.
And some of it sort of reminded me of a little bit of Maine.
This is Picton, a little town where the ferry lands.
Now this is the drive. We were going to head over to Abel Tasman, which is one of the great walks. And this is the valley down below. We were up on the mountain there, and the drive was unbelievable. When they tell you all the time in New Zealand that it takes a long time to get somewhere. Don't think it's like going to be easy, because the roads are twisty, turny, so that, you know, they're narrow. This is now walking on the Abel Tasman. This is what they call bush. Anything that's woods is their bush.
It's a well-traveled one.
Well-traveled. And it kind of alternates between, you go out onto a beach and then you go into bush, and then you go back into back onto a beach again, and then go back and forth. Yeah, it's very pleasant. That's a tree fern, one of my favorites. Just makes me think of New Zealand when I see it, looking up through the canopy of the tree fern.
This is a dead one with a really interesting bark. And then the next is a cross section. So you can imagine the moisture that's drawn up through that trunk. pretty cool.
That's a weka. Obviously, they're really friendly. You see them, I'm sitting down to have lunch, and that's when you see them. As soon as you start to eat, wekas show up because they're little beggars. They'd be happy for any handout. Nice little birds, though.
Here's one of the beaches, and the trees are just enormous. If you can see me,
The
that's
size of
how
the
big it
tree.
is. It's just enormous trees.
More agapanthus. Happy.
Well-groomed land, mostly by sheep,
I
I
was
think.
just gonna say it's sheep. We always had friends at the campsite.
Always friends. Am I going too fast?
Nobody can hear. Then this is we went up to we're back onto the coast. We went north. This is one of the roads less traveled. We went up to a little town called Karamia, and this is a big tree. They call this the red pine, the Rimu tree, gigantic. Well, that's some of the vegetation along the trails. So up there, we drove 15 miles on a little gravel road. I mean, talk about rough going to Oparara Basin. These are limestone arches. Pretty dramatic.
Climbing out.
Back on the walk. The beaches were wonderful.
This is an area that's heavily
Very touristy.
it's touristy, and it's called Pancake Rocks. It has a
Punakaki is the
Punakaki,
name.
yeah.
Now.
and it's a really interesting landform. You can see the multiple layers of rocks there, and the national park has built a really interesting trail along there. You can see folks up at the top, and it's a lovely walkway around there. Very dramatic. Awesome.
And that's a river that's flowing into the ocean. There's lots and lots and lots of rivers and lots of waterfalls.
That's for sure.
We went inland to Arthur's Pass. I hadn't been there on the first time, so I thought, well, let's go see it. We found a wonderful hike up this valley, Otira Valley, and it was just spectacular. This was probably about an hour and a half that we hiked on that. At the Department of Conservation office there at Arthur's Pass, we went to their office, and this is a possum, New Zealand possum. I guess I should call it that.
Yeah.
They are not native. They were introduced in 1837 from Australia to be a fur trade. And now they are very, very destructive. They just eat tons of vegetation. They raid birds' nests and they eat the eggs. And you know, a lot of the birds there don't fly, so their nests are on the ground. So
Yeah.
they don't look like our possums, that's for sure.
No, but they're real soft. Their fur is nice.
Back out to the shoreline. And then we headed down to Franz Joseph. Oh, not yet. Let's see.
Trails are well maintained.
Many, many places to just, you know, take an hour's walk. And
Those are beech trees.
very different from our beach trees.
Yeah.
Another waterfall. Now we're into the Franz Josef and Fox Glacier area. So that's why you see a lot of, runoff like that. That's common. And the water is all, bright blue. That gives you an idea of how much water, what happens when it rains.
These are called glacial moraines. It's they can fill up in a heavy rain, but most of the time the river's down at the low point.
There was a huge storm just after we got to New Zealand, and we were up on the North Island. We didn't know anything was going on, but they got slammed. And this is just, what happened, the accumulation. It wiped out roads, it wiped out parking lots. The Milford Sound was shut down. So on our trip, we were not able to get down to the Milford Sound, which is really, really sad. Now we're heading inland. It's so spectacular. I mean, there's no area that you're not, looking at things. So this is driving down the road. Look on your left, there's this lake. On your right, there's another one. There's just beauty everywhere. Now heading north off toward the Alps. This is Mount Cook, which is the highest mountain in the country, and they're in the Southern Alps. It's 12,300 feet. It was so busy there. We couldn't believe it. We went up into kind of like the little village part. We couldn't even find a parking spot. We just drove, turned around, came back out, and we stopped at a trailhead and hiked in to that lake that we just passed. So that was Mount Cook. Beautiful, beautiful. We stopped at a lavender farm on the way back, organic lavender farm, and had lavender ice cream.
Try that sometime.
That was good. So this is no, I think that might be Wanaka Lake. Yeah. Just a canal that we passed. This is Queenstown, which is, maybe people have heard of. That's a very well-known town. It's where all the adventure seekers end up, where it was the first place they started bungee jumping. We did
this bridge.
Yeah, and hard to get a sense of just how far that is, but they will actually dunk people's heads in the water from that height.
You can ask if you want your head dunked or your hands dunked, because you go head first. Some do, and some don't.
And I think they dunk some people that say they don't even want to get dunked. They just sort of have fun with it. So this is in Queenstown. It's situated right on the lake. Those are the remarkable mountains across the way, as you can see why they're named. That is so anyway, you go to Queenstown, you can, parasail, you can, paraglide off the mountain behind it. It's just so many different thrills and things going on there. It's just kind of a little bit of crazy.
You see that boat? That's that boat.
It's a classic old steamer.
Yeah, it's a steamboat.
Yeah, there's
Great.
cruises on the lake. That's now looking north. We drove on the road up along this lake. It is one of the most beautiful drives you could ever take. It was lovely. We were on our way to Glenorchy. There's wonderful hiking there at the beginning of the Rootburn Trail, and there's also Caples and Greenstone, three of the great walks. But the Rootburn Trail was destroyed during that big rainstorm, and it never came back after, while we were there. So this is Glenorchy, pastoral setting with an amazing backdrop. And it just every day it's like this, every day. So we knew we'd made it to paradise. We sort of knew, but it was official.
It was official.
We made it there. So this is up at the very top of the lake.
And the dust is from that's dust. It's not fog or moisture. It's actually dust from the glacial moraines that get kicked up by the wind. There's always snow on the mountains. This was their summer.
Glacier, yeah. That's flax in the foreground. The Maoris use that for many, many, many things. You see that in a lot of places. So here we are back on off the beaten path. We followed this road for, I don't know, 20 miles, 30 miles. We had to ford 3 different streams. I mean, it was lovely, but it was a little intense. There's one of the smaller ones.
Yeah.
We really hoped that our rental company didn't have a tracker on our van because we thought we'd get yelled at when we got back. But we made it down there and we made it back through these streams. So then Tim did some fishing in a nice little river. Just some of the scenery along the way.
These trains weren't in a museum. They were just being mothballed. I think they still worked.
Now we made our way to Tianu, which is the gateway to Milford Sound. Lots of excitement things there, helicopter rides, all that sort of thing. You can do anything you want up there, take up to the glaciers and all that sort of thing. We went to a bird sanctuary. These are Theo Ducks, which is W-H-I-O, but W-H is pronounced F. This is a very rare bird. It's a takahe, and it was thought to be extinct until they found a small colony. So they have some of them living there. They told us the only reason we were seeing this bird is because they are feeding it, because they're very reclusive. They don't want to be near people. And this is a bird that looks similar, but it's a pukiku. Now these you see a lot down in like marshy areas.
Yeah, farmland.
But they're cool.
This was one of the Kepler.
It's right near there. Yeah, this is heading down. Then we decided to do a little hiking on the Kepler track, another one of the great walks. Oh, wait a minute. Here's what we saw along the way.
This was this is what the locals call a robin, and they're real gregarious. This was about a foot away from my camera, so it was they're pretty interesting little birds.
Another beautiful river. We crossed that to get over to the Kepler track, and then here's the track itself. The foliage going through there was just amazing. We did a 4-mile walk and came out to this beach where there was a hut there. We sat down, had our lunch, enjoyed some beautiful scenery, and walked back. Then we headed down to the southern part of the South Island called the Catlins. It's known to be quieter than the rest of the island. It's bird life like you wouldn't believe. You get out of the car and it's like all you can hear is just like, the birds. It's just spectacular. We camped here for a night. This is called Curio Bay. So it's a pretty interesting area. They have yellow-eyed penguins that breed here, and they come out of the water every night after they've been in the ocean all day feeding. They come in after dark, but you're allowed to sit here. You see a rope out there, and they keep you back behind that rope. But if you stay, they come out like about 8:45 was dark, getting close to dark. You can stay there and watch them come out. So, but they're the rarest. The yellow-eyed penguins are the rarest in the world. Hector Dolphins also breed down there in those bays. So as you're going along the shoreline of the Catlins, there's walks all, periodically, every like 10 miles or something. And then you walk in and you see these beautiful waterfalls.
This is a wood pigeon or a New Zealand pigeon. They're quite large. They're like the size of a raven.
They're neat when they fly in. And the waterfall. Lots of them. Nice walks.
Beautifully maintained.
Yeah. So again, this is off the bottom of the South Island. And that's Nugget Point Lighthouse. Keep going. They built that lighthouse in the 1800s after there was a bad shipwreck on rocks like these. So they thought they better put up a lighthouse. And then we went to Otago Peninsula to the Northern Royal Albatross colony. These birds are so cool. So they're nesting right there. And they nest in the same place. That's where they always come back to nest there. They have about a 9-foot 6-inch wingspan. When the chicks fledge, They go out to sea for 4 to 6 years, but then they come back to the same place to mate. Okay, now we've moved into Dunedin, and it's an interesting, again, everything's clean and neat and easy. You drive in, you find a parking spot, you put money in the meter, and you're there. This is the railway station, was built between 1903 and 1906. Beautiful mosaic, tiles, just a fun thing to see. We found some honey.
All kinds of flavored,
They were delicious.
what's it called? Matuka honey?
Yeah, Matuka honey is one that they make there.
It's supposed to be healy. And then we found some funny potato chips. I go, the bag didn't look that appetizing. So we laughed about that. And the fruit was big in some certain areas of town, but no, the place is known for its incredible fruit farms.
Apples, kiwi fruit, apricots, grapes, avocados. It was wonderful. You can just buy things at the farms along the road.
Okay, humor's over.
Yeah, back to the trip. So we were driving along and we saw this little sign that said Clay Cliffs, and we were like, wow, what's that? So we said, let's go see. So
Bounced down about 10 miles,
10 miles.
of sorry road, but it was great to see. I was being beamed up. Beautiful, crazy place. It was like congealed, like hard stone, but you could tell it was just clay-like. Whoops,
This is
sorry.
Mount John Observatory. That's Lake Takapoo in the background. This is one of the best stargazing places in the world, I believe. That's what they tout. Because of the clear skies, and there's no light pollution up there, as you can tell. Now this is the Ashburton Lakes area. As we're starting to move north. We stayed at a campground in one little town, and the owner said, oh, if you want to fish, there's a lake up the road. Some of the people that stay here do that. So we went up there, and Tim went off to fish, and I went over and talked to some guys who were fishing there, and one of the guys had his son there. And this was like, a Sunday morning, it's like 10 o'clock in the morning, and like, hey, you want a beer? And I'm like, no, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. I don't really drink beer. No, you got to have a beer. So I was like, okay, all right, I'll take your beer. So they said, go up the road, just go up the road, and there's a really nice place. So we said, all right. I bumped into Tim a minute later, and he's like, why do you have a beer in your hand?
30 miles in beyond that
Yeah.
was this incredible valley. And
We were glad we bumped into them.
and this mountain to the right is called Mount Sunday. And it was just spectacular place.
So we did a little hike up there, and
We think it was part of the filming of Lord of the Rings too.
Yeah.
We're not sure about that, but we were told that.
yeah, this one also was another like 3 rivers to ford to get to it. And we thought we'd found the quietest place in the whole place. And just as we were getting ready to leave, 2 gigantic tour buses pulled in. So
I can't believe they drove on that road.
there goes that idea. Venison is on menus a lot. They raise a lot of deer. Sometimes we slept in campgrounds that were in people's backyards. This is really nice. This is a beautiful river. They do jet boating there. Lots of jet boats. Really popular.
British influence.
This is out on Akaroa Peninsula, just east of Christchurch. Huge bay. Beautiful clouds. Turns. So now this is Christchurch. We don't have a lot of pictures of Christchurch, which I feel a little badly about, but this is one. And that's another one with a trolley going through. And then if you remember, in 2010, they had an earthquake that was a magnitude 7.1, did a lot of damage. And then in 2011 was another one, a 6.3. And this is their cathedral. Now this is 10 years later. They've rebuilt a lot of the city. but there's still a lot that hasn't gotten, they just probably don't have the money to do it. They have a beautiful botanic garden. We saw some wonderful trees there. A beautiful conservatory. No. Give you an idea how big that tree is. Back out in the landscape. Oh, that's somewhere.
That's Havner Springs.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful valley.
This was a road less traveled.
Yeah. We just happened onto this and just found it beautiful. More grapes, another grape region. Then we went to Nelson Lakes, another national park. Fantastic hiking as well. It wasn't sunny every day, by the way. We just seemed to showing you some of the best days. So this now, we're back at the top of the South Island. This is Marlborough Sound. This is my favorite. If I could live in New Zealand, I would live at Marlborough Sound for sure. That's a cicada.
They were hatching that summer, and you could hear their noises at night. It was great. Fish love them too. That's the top of Kenapuru Sound. This was a nice walk along the sound. Tourist boat, and they have business. They were exporting these beautiful logs.
We saw a lot of lumber trucks. Beautiful scenery there. Back on the ferry, heading back up to the North Island. Kind of get a sense there's still some mountains, but they're not like the South Island. I missed the mountains. This is Tongariro National Park. It has 3 volcanoes. New Zealand's first national park. These volcanoes can make it somehow. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Some of the best in the world there. We did not do that crossing, and I wish we did. We need to go back. This is a hot steam spot. I'll try to pronounce it. Oraki Korooko. It's a Maori pronunciation that I just butchered. This is probably the best geothermal area in New Zealand. They had a better one, but something happened to it. Don't ask me. Active geysers, steaming terraces. There's boiling mud. Of course, it smells like rotten eggs, but it's very, very interesting place. All the steam. Lots of fun.
Headed back up towards Auckland.
Now this is on the Coromandel Peninsula. We had just arrived on the Coromandel Peninsula. This is Hot Water Beach. We've been there all about 10 minutes.
And we got word that the last plane was leaving New Zealand because of the COVID pandemic, that we managed to get on the last plane out, which in hindsight, I wish we'd stayed. And this was a cool shot from the tail of the airplane. They offered that to their passengers as we're headed home across the Pacific.
I'm in COVID time.
Here we are.
So these are some words to live by. I think it's a good idea. So thank you so much, folks.
That's it.
Okay,
Well,
and you have to get out of
I gotta get out of here.
Okay, we can hear.
Kim, if you want me to help with that, I can.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
you can.
Okay.
Boston.
Let's wait.
So we're gonna have you stop sharing.
Do you need him to do that?
And I need to get you guys back so we can see you, because we do have questions in the chat.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Did that work? I don't think it worked.
I don't see you yet.
What do we do? We have to get back.
No.
We have to get back.
Come back.
I know.
Back to us.
We have to get out of here.
I think last time you just hit Zoom
Oh.
again.
Yeah, there we
Yeah.
go. We just had to.
Here you
get out of the
are.
screen. Ah,
Yay.
there.
All right, I'm going to start at the top of this chat list, okay? Diane said, looking forward to this. We traveled for 5 weeks in 2019 and we feel it was the best trip ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I just made a silly comment about those bathrooms. I said they were hilarious.
They are.
Anita is saying, it seems to always be sunny. Did it rain at all?
Oh yeah, it
Yeah,
rained.
plenty of
We
rain.
walked in the rain a lot.
And especially on the West Coast, on the South Island, it's nicknamed the Wet Coast.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Gina is asking, did you always stay in campgrounds?
no, we tried to freedom camp. That was the original intention, which means that our camper van was considered self-contained. We had a portable toilet in there, but we never used it. But you can freedom camp some places where you could, they have an outhouse or a bathroom there, but they don't charge you to stay there. They're in kind of out of the way places, but a lot of campgrounds.
Yeah, lots of younger folks would stay in those places, and they'd often be really crowded. And there was no campsite to speak of. It was just a parking lot.
Yeah, we got tired of that.
We got that got old.
All right, William is asking, some of it looks like Scotland. Did I hear New Zealand has more sheep than people?
Yes,
but
they
now it's become probably as many cows, because I think the price of beef has gone up there. So there's a lot of both. So I would say the people are outnumbered by 4-footeds.
And,
All right.
and Christchurch is actually a major Scottish area. So if he's interested in Scottish things in New Zealand, then he should check out Christchurch.
There's guys in kilts around. Yeah, we're a few of them.
Peter is asking, was that van rented through outdoorsy.com?
No.
It was not. I don't know that company.
There's a lot of
Yeah,
companies. There's
a
a dozen at least. I mean, we saw all kinds. So you just go online. Ours was called Brits. There's a place called Juicy where that van was at the end, where
purple and green
had that little saying on it. There's all kinds of them.
You can go online. They're easy to find.
Janet also followed up with, assume you rented the camper. Can you say more about it? So maybe Janet can unmute if you haven't answered that enough, but let's see. William, this is wonderful. I heard there's a long trail in the larger lower island that is only one way, so you never see anyone coming at you.
That would be the Milford Track.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a one way. Isn't that crazy?
That's great.
Yeah.
There's
exactly.
also a north to south trail that's somewhat new. It's like the AT of
starts at the
South
very
Island.
top of this North Island and ends at the bottom. And we met some people that were hiking it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a long one.
Yeah.
Angie's wondering what the primary language is.
English.
Oh, it's English.
And Maori, a lot of signs are in Maori, a lot of towns. There's a lot of Maori names. The Maori names came back, I think, in the early 90s. They kind of said, okay, this is really your country. We overtook it. So let's give you your heritage back. So there's, yeah.
Joan is asking, who took all the beautiful photographs?
Oh, it was
Mostly
a combination.
Tim, but some are mine.
We pulled these from over 3,000 images that we took, which just seems really crazy. We could probably have a show that would last five or 6 hours.
But no, don't do that.
But that would be a little too much. But no, we had 275 pictures that you just saw, and it was the two of us more or less. But I'd say I'd have the majority of them.
All right, I have some more here, and then I also am noticing people are unmuting. So I think beyond the chat, you may have more questions.
Okay.
Ellen is asking, did you stay in the wilderness areas and did you ever feel unsafe?
No reason to feel unsafe at all.
No,
No,
no.
never,
I mean,
never, ever,
even,
ever.
even with animals or anything,
Well, there's
it's
nothing,
great. There's no snakes, and
poisonous
no poisonous anything. It's like,
or spiders
it's like
or
the best
anything.
place in the world.
Yeah, no, never felt unsafe. Cities are perfect. Everything is easy,
No, it's great.
easy.
I think you've answered Gail's question. Did you camp in official campgrounds or anywhere you wanted? But Gail, if we haven't answered that for you, I'll ask you to unmute and clarify some more. William, I thought the red telephone booth was their version of a space X craft.
It was the,
Well, you kind of wonder sometimes, like, where'd that come from?
Deb is asking, what were the campgrounds like?
There's this one company that had them. They're called Top Tens, and we stayed in a lot of Top Tens because they were really the nicest ones. They were in a lot of like the bigger, not bigger
well,
towns.
they were
but
convenient
They were
too.
convenient. They were in areas you wanted to be in. They had pools. They had big playgrounds for the kids. They had kitchens. Some of them had multiple kitchens.
Everything was
Laundry is
spotlessly
there.
clean.
It was nice. They were really very, very nice.
Yeah.
A lot of times you could walk into town, from them. That
Yeah,
was
they
another
were-
nice thing.
The access.
Get groceries and things like that.
Janet is commenting, thanks so much. Your pictures are fabulous. I'd love to go, but don't think I'll ever make it. So I appreciate this.
You're welcome.
William, do you ever see the Maori people walking about in towns or on roads?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you see them around me. They're like just like kind of normal people. It's a normal event, normal thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have their own churches and their own, just like we do, I suppose. But no, it's a very
Totally
common-
integrated. Yeah,
common,
totally integrated.
Diane, I think your question was already answered. How many photos did you take? A lot. And will you go back is her second question.
I would like to very much.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Beautiful, especially where you got it cut short, sounds like. All
Yes.
right. Peter, beautiful photos, so interesting. Did you ever sit on those beautiful beaches and go swimming? Were there sharks? The cloud formations were awe-inspiring. Thank you.
Thanks. The water's cooler than you might think. We swam in the Tasman Sea, which was near the Able Tasman
long.
Trail. We didn't stay in there too long. It was kind of chilly, but no, we didn't go in the ocean much.
Yeah, we didn't really swim that much. Another thing too, you're never really sure where you're going to be that night, and then you get salt water on you, and I mean,
Yeah.
I hate to sound like a wussy or something, but you know what I mean?
We just,
Yeah. All right.
I didn't see any sharks, and
Okay.
but there's plenty of surfers, so there's a lot of
Yeah.
surfers.
Ken is commenting, loved your presentation and photos. And he said, we were, quote, stuck in New Zealand from March 14th through May 30th, 2020. 7 weeks in Queenstown with very few other tourists. Your photos bring back many memories. Can't wait to return.
Wow. So I wonder how that happened. He got stuck down there. So he got
Got quarantined out. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got out the day before that the prime minister initiated a lockdown.
Basically.
So we would have been stuck in a really nice place that beach, and which kind of like I said, why don't we just?
Well, we had
stay?
time to get wherever we wanted to
But
get.
but
Pretty much.
we chose to get out and shouldn't have. Whatever.
Yeah, hindsight,
Yeah.
All right, Diane again. Did you make it to a Maori village?
Well, we
drove through a few.
were near them. We don't tend to do a lot of the tourist things. Like we didn't do like the haka, and the meals that they'll put on for tourists and stuff. We didn't really do any of that just because it's not really our
But we
style.
saw their villages. We
Yeah.
a lot. Oftentimes the roads we just go through their
Yeah,
little towns.
yeah.
That's great.
Peter would like to know if you planned your trip per day or just winged it to see where you ended up each day.
We winged it.
We're wingers. We wing things.
We never travel with The only thing we did was we landed in Auckland, and we, just to take care of our jet lag, because we can't sleep on planes, we did rent a B&B for
2 nights.
2 nights.
Hmm.
And then, but in that interim night,
For the
or that
jet lag.
interim day, we went and saw Auckland. But
So you
other
didn't
than
even,
that,
I'll just follow up with that. So you didn't even have to book that ferry? You just could get on that with your van?
Well, that's the way it was the first time I went. You just showed up and got on. You know, you had to, you know what the schedule was, and you get on. That's what I kind of thought it was going to be. Things have changed a lot in 28 years. So when we got down to Wellington the night before, I called the fair. I, tried to get online, and they said, no, you can't get on there for 2 more days. So we had to hang around for 2 days. So
which was fun because we went up to the wine country.
yeah, it was fine. It was always
No.
a deal.
Felt sorry for ourselves.
Diane is asking about a Maori museum in Wellington and whether you visited that.
Yes, we did.
It
That was really great.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does she know it? I wonder if she knows the museum.
Yeah, I think we have 3 more, and then I'll have people unmute if you don't mind. Maybe Diane
no.
will fill us in. Ellen, what about costs? How much should one budget?
It's an expensive place, and I'm going to say that. And it really depends on what you want to do. I hate to say this number out loud, but I'm like an organized type of person. So I totaled up all that we spent, and 10,000. I know. And
Someone just gasped.
And we
didn't eat out.
we didn't
a
do
lot.
the fancy sport things and the thrill-seeking things.
We worked really pretty darn careful.
But that included the van, which we didn't have lodging.
The van was probably over 5,000. So,
Yeah.
and we paid, that was paid before we even got there. So, that helps. But it's expensive.
Yeah.
But the exchange rate is, if you give like $1 US, you get $1.46 Kiwi money. So that helps. It's expensive.
Everything's pricey there, but then again, you kind of justify it with the exchange rate.
Yeah. It doesn't slow people down from going there, by the way.
Couple more. How was the food and access to it while traveling and camping? That's from Marion.
It was very good.
Very accessible. The grocery stores were amazing. There was this one that I loved. Every time we would go near one, I go, oh, let's stop. It was fantastic. And there's products in the grocery store that I wish we could get here that are healthy things that, I don't know, it's really nice. They have they take care of themselves, and people are very concerned about taking care of themselves.
Restaurants were good.
Yeah, everything was top notch.
Very good. So George is saying, good job, Laurie and Tim, with 3 exclamation points.
Thanks, George.
William, have to run, but you two make a greatest couple, full of life and love of nature. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
2 last questions, and then I'm just going to see if anybody wants to ask you, because we're over, but we have a few seconds here. Angie, what was the gas price?
Oh, if you want to wait 1 second, I can go look that up.
It was sold by the liter. Wasn't it? Oh, she's gonna go look. She's gonna look it up. So we're gonna eat some time up. But we didn't think about it. we can't get anywhere.
Oh, $1.42 a liter.
Times 4. So it's more than gasoline here, of course. But it was a pretty efficient van. It rolled pretty well. You can rent all kinds of cars. You don't have to rent vans. We thought that if we ever went back, we would rent a small car, really good on gas, and then stay in Airbnbs for maybe a week at a time, instead of bouncing around.
It's still expensive,
Yeah.
For 2 months. We were there for 2 months. A long time.
Yeah, 50 days.
How long did you have the van for that amount of money Janet's asking?
The whole
the whole
time.
time.
Yeah, we had one day when
Like
we
2
arrived.
days in Auckland and
Yeah.
then we rented.
And we had to go home 4 days early, or 6 days
5
early.
days. 5
Yeah,
days early.
and that you just give that up.
just-
They're not gonna
Yeah,
refund.
yeah, we didn't get a refund.
We
'Cause the
we
place was
pulled up there
shutting
at
down.
10 o'clock at night. It was raining. We just take the keys and throw them over the gate.
Threw them in the
We had
grass.
to get on a plane.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was
Um,
kind of panic.
Ken is making a comment, I think because he was there, housing was extra cheap during the lockdown. And
Oh,
then
that's gave discounts.
Yeah.
We were offered a discount.
we'll end the chat questions with this from Kim saying, wonderful presentation, you're delightful, can't wait to make the trip. And then I'll just ask if there's anybody that has a quick question for Tim and Laurie as we start to wrap up tonight. You can unmute and ask. You had a lot of chat questions.
Oh. We hope I hope you had time to look at the pictures. I know
We
I
did, Tim. We really did.
Okay.
It went really nicely. Well, here's what I want to say. We're all so homebound that having this adventure on our screen in our homes at least gives us a small gift right now, right? Thank you for sharing this, because it was absolutely captivating, and we really appreciate you sharing your treasure with us, because it's really what it is. It really is. Thank you for sharing it.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Well,
Because-
for you, it gave us a chance to go back through our pictures,
Yeah.
fun too. We
know,
relived it.
And for those of us who may never make it there, we're certainly living vicariously through the both of you. And we really, really are grateful for you presenting tonight. So thank you so much, Tim and Laurie. And I'm just going to read my little spiel for the end here.
Thank you for all your help.
What's
Yeah,
that?
thanks.
Thank you for your help. We couldn't have done it without you.
Oh, you're very welcome. So this concludes our presentation for this evening. All of us at Vose Library, thank you for attending our Zoom with Vose Library series. And we hope that you'll help spread the word and also join us on Wednesday, March 3rd at 6 p.m. when Holly and Elmer Savage share their good work from Savage Oaks Winery. Also, March 3rd is Helen Vose's birthday, and we're celebrating the whole month of March. Please be sure to sign up for an appointment to visit our library. You can give us a call and we'll make an appointment for you. So again, thank you, Tim and Laurie. Good night, everybody. Be well and stay healthy.
Good night.
Bye.
How do we access